Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. Today is Monday, December 16th, and we will tell you why a certain player playing in my hometown got snubbed this weekend, talking college football. We'll tell you who will win the college football matchups. We'll go over the NFL playoff picture. And speaking of then basketball, is it just us or is the SEC now a powerhouse?
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots.
Lessons learned, boys and girls. When things don't go your way, just quit.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
All right, all you sinners, it is a Monday, so it's time for your dose of Sports Idiot Nation. I am Adam Marino, as always, joined by Miles behind enemy lines and Mr. T.I. And yes, one of the first things that we want to go over, as Miles is reminding me that I too am wearing Your Team Sucks, and Miles is wearing I'm an Idiot, I Can't, and definitely have the Sports Idiot Nation logo on the shirt as well. T.I. definitely sporting another cool shirt as well. Titans Idiot. Follow on Facebook, as he has 32,000 followers, and pick up a shirt like that if you are either, I would say, a Titans fan or a UCLA fan, as I am, because that's dope for that. I know that's not what you're thinking, but you can't stop me from thinking it. So, but again, check out all of the gear and the swag stuff we all get. Swag.
I wore this to ice yesterday. Took the kiddo to ice, and I got a lot of compliments on it. People were like, "Oh,
Yeah,
I love your shirt."
as you should.
And I'm like, "Yeah, if you only knew where it came from, you might not love it as much."
His butt. So again, the link is in the show notes, in the description. Check out all of our different shirts and swag. So the Heisman Trophy, it's kind of looked at as this like Raiders of the Lost Ark, like, oh, like the big thing you win, and then it doesn't necessarily translate to the NFL. But a guy that plays both ways might translate. I know I don't know if it will translate as in he will play both ways in the NFL, but when a guy is superb at both offense and defense, you feel like there's a place for him in the NFL.
He's a little football curious.
Yeah, let's go over the decision of him over a running back who had. Let's start there. Let's rank the year that he had running the football. Top 10 unequivocally, hands down. But Miles, where do you put his season? For not let's not talk bias of recency. Let's go from Archie Griffin to, like, where do you put him?
I put him at number 3. And the other two guys are from Oklahoma. And if you can't guess that, well, there's not much I can do for you. But I'll give you the answers anyways. It's Barry's number 1 and AP is number 2. Eric Dickerson is up there as well in my top 5.
Reggie
Archie
Bush?
Griffin is just like a different era. Even Reggie Bush, no, because Reggie Bush, he was more the all-purpose yards, and that's fine and all. But what I'm saying, like, true running back, because you got to remember that Reggie was used in the slot a lot, even at the college level. And that was Matt Leinert's team still. They had a lot of weapons, whereas this truly is only Ashton Gentry's team. And the fact that he plays for Boise State, he plays out west, that's fine, but he's going to a group of 6 school, so he's not going to get the love and respect that he deserves. And ultimately, the Deion bias won it out. Nothing against Travis Hunter. He's a great player. I would love to see him on the Tennessee Titans. We got to keep losing. We're doing well with that. You got to stay consistent, and hope some other teams get wins. And yes, I want Travis Hunter in two-tone blue, but should he have been the Heisman Trophy winner? Absolutely not.
Now, what do you want him to do with Tennessee?
Play football.
Which side of
I
it?
want him to play quarterback. I want him to play running back. Maybe he can play a little right tackle as well.
Well, Giselle used to say
we
play a
really
wide
need
out.
him on special
Catch
teams. We really need him on
can't throw
special
his own-
teams as well. Special teams
Yeah,
are
and
abysmal.
you know, when Stonehouse gets hurt again, he can punt. You know, Folk's only getting
Scout.
older, so we'll need him to kick field
He
goals.
can go
Definitely
down and
off.
down it. He'll
Yeah.
punt it, and then he'll be the one.
He can also work as our talent evaluator,
perfect.
scout.
Right.
He can,
We'll need another head coach here soon.
he can
do that.
Yeah, I heard our
He can choose
custodians
our
need
draft
a little bit more
selections.
depth. Yeah, he can run the concession stands.
he makes
when
a
I
mean
need,
funnel cake. I heard he makes a mean funnel cake.
well, and not only that, when I need a beer break, need to go to the bathroom, he can stand in line for me. He can be a good placeholder there, and he can still get back after, you know, or really before the timeout, after the commercials are done, get back to the field and do what he needs to do. So I hope we can clone him at least 36 times. He can make up about 2/3 of the roster and do whatever the hell we need him to do. So that's my answer to your question.
The one thing though I think that you should probably do yourself is you should probably go to get your beer, because there's way more exciting things going on in the concession stand line than actually what's been going on the field lately. So just give yourself a break from the game and just go.
No, but when
go watch the crowd,
when Travis Hunter is playing, you know, I need someone to stand in for me in that line. So he gets the beer, hands it off to me. He gets in the elevator, gets back down, then gets back on the field. I do want to see that happen. I do want to see that. So again, nothing against Travis Hunter. He just shouldn't have won the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I mean, I thought Janty should have won. I'm a running back purist. I think when you stack him up with like the last 5 Heisman winners running backs, I mean, I know you look at, you know, Henry and Ingram and other cats. It's like he's crushing those seasons. So I think he kind of got screwed. Again, I'm not saying that Travis Hunter is not deserving of the many awards that he got, because obviously it's playing both positions in college is hard.
But he's no Jim Thorpe.
He's no Cordell Stewart, you know, but yeah, I mean, still, I feel like there's this, maybe it's an unsaid kind of bias, but people are going to just assume that, yeah, Colorado is playing stiffer competition. But sure, yeah, they did play some tougher teams, but Boise played pretty much the same kind of schedule that Colorado
played. Oregon.
You know, yeah.
They played Oregon. He put up nearly 200 yards.
Yeah, you know,
case closed on my end.
That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of like, you know, when they had to play the top talent, he did his job. You know, again, he's not playing quarterback. He can't determine if they win or lose by the flick of his wrist, but he can do his job, and he does his job well. I know the NFL has changed a lot to where running backs really don't go in the first round unless, you know, you do something crazy like draft Jamar Gibbs or something, which that's paying off for Detroit. Everybody kind of laughed at him when they did that, but it's really paying off.
John Robinson, Atlanta, sure.
Well, now that they got, you know, the right people in charge there, and they're actually utilizing that guy, you know, Arthur Smith. I don't know what his deal was, why he just didn't utilize him the right way, but man, as soon as he left, Bijan Robinson's just tearing it up. But yeah, I feel like Janty got robbed. You know, I mean, it was really between him and Travis Hunter. I know that Shader Sanders is like, well, I feel like I should have been invited. Like, no, bro, just chill, man. They're not going to put 2 Colorado Buffaloes there. You got one of them. Just chill. But I agree with Miles. My vote, I don't think it's a travesty by any means that Travis Hunter, you know, was selected. He obviously earned the right to be there, but I think it should have been Janty's award, hands down. I'm like I said, I'm a running back purist. It's my favorite position in the NFL, always has been. I just love seeing running backs do their thing, and that goes back to, obviously, to me growing up watching college, because, you know, people will say it's an argument, you know, but Auburn has been a borderline RBU, you know, for a long time. There's been some big time backs come out of there, you know, whether it was, you know, Bo or Rudy Johnson or, you know, Cadillac or, you know,
Ronnie Brown.
Well, Ronnie Brown. Yeah, absolutely. Ronnie Brown. Yeah. Same draft. So, you know, and they've got Jacquez Hunter right now, which is a lot of people consider to be the top back in the SEC. So, they're
People are
definitely
asking.
people are asking, is he the top back in the SEC? Well, I think he could be. We'll see with the new quarterback. But, we'll see how that goes next season. But yeah, I
So
love
do
me
have
some
a
running
quick-
backs. Love me some running backs.
outside of Auburn. Like thinking about it, and I brought up Jim Thorpe, but he played every position. It wasn't the same football, so I don't count him in the all-time rankings. But like Jim Brown, the killer OJ, and anyone else, Reggie Bush, non-Auburn running backs. Who's your favorite non-Auburn running back from the college level of all time? Ricky Williams too.
Oh man, that's tough. I mean, Barry Sanders was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. And Adrian Peterson was just ridiculous. I mean, he was just trucking fools left and right, But yeah, it's tough to beat Barry Sanders. I'm still shocked that he retired so early, but hey, good for him. Good for him,
Well, when you play in Detroit, I mean,
yeah, put some
back in
years on
those days, not now. Although we'll get into how Detroit looked not that great when we get into some NFL stuff.
one thing I was going to say too. A lot of people don't know that same year he ended up transferring, but the same year that they had Ronnie Brown Cadillac, they had Brandon Jacobs as like their third string back too, which is just like monstrous to have those three guys on your roster. Because Brandon Jacobs was just a freaking bulldozer.
Which, speaking of him, remember Ron Dane?
Yeah,
that dude was a hoss.
But there was Kajana Carter. I mean, there were some great Rashawn Salam. There were some great college running backs that just went to the NFL and just nothing. I know it's situational, like where you land really it matters a lot. But I thought both those guys would have better NFL careers. But again, you just never really know. Like the Heisman doesn't always translate to NFL success. We've talked about it on the show before.
Oh,
and some Heisman Trophy
Troy
winners,
Smith.
Some Heisman Trophy quarterbacks don't even get drafted.
Some of the Heismans don't even get on the commercials. I've never seen Troy Smith on one of the Nissan, whatever Heisman. You got Flutie, you got Johnny Manziel,
Jason,
you got
where's Jason White and Eric Crouch? Come on.
The new one was
Troy Smith.
The new one was Steve Spurrier wearing his Gator boots. Oh man, that one's ridiculous, dude.
I'm excited to see Travis Hunter in those commercials. I mean, he's
the Gator
very marketable. More than Troy Smith.
Like ignores like Tebow's call. He's like, nah.
Yeah. But Adam, speaking of Travis Hunter again, you make the argument he shouldn't even have won the Biletnikoff, right?
Well, all right. So it's well documented. I am from San Jose, California, which is where the mighty fighting Spartans out of San Jose are fighting out of. In this corner, in this small little corner, we have the San Jose State Spartans. And I've always enjoyed the fact that they are the same colors as the Golden State Warriors and the UCLA Bruins. It's got the blue and yellow, so it's like
you have a "Your Team Sucks" San Jose State shirt. That's right.
Exactly. Just not wearing it today. I got the
doubles and triples. I mean, you can just wear it for every
exactly.
occasion, every
taking it off,
every collegiate academic sports occasion.
But seriously. I almost said it seriously.
Seriously.
But guys, seriously.
Like your tongue stuck to the pole in Christmas Story. Seriously.
Nick Nash. Can we I don't know how many podcasts are giving this guy love. So I am going to give him all the love. How could you lead FBS? Speaking of BS, it's BS that he led all of FBS in every statistical Jerry Rice category you want, and he didn't win the Biletnikoff. Like, what are we doing? I feel like that old Dane Cook where he's like, who's on the hoses, guys? I feel like, what are we doing? What are we doing out here? How does that? Travis Hunter was an above average receiver and an above average defender. And you put that together, and what do you got? Bibbity boppity boo. Heisman. Fair, fine. Okay, I'm not even going to hate on that. But you have to give the end of... He wasn't the best defensive back in all of college football, I wouldn't say, because his stats weren't there as much because, oh, by the way, he's playing offense, which is amazing. Give him the Heisman. That's fine. But I just don't understand how a guy like that... I don't want to hear about the competition. I don't want to hear, like, come on. The guy leads every category, and he doesn't win it. It's BS. I don't
Because
like it.
Deion Sanders is not his head coach. That is why, Adam. You asked the question, I answered the questions.
There you
There's
go.
there's a lot of Colorado bias there, a lot of money, a lot of pull, a lot of clicks on the internet.
Now, Ti, does any other coach besides Deion squeeze out what Deion was able to squeeze out of that roster, though?
It just depends on what their methods to their madness are. I mean, I think Deion, maybe behind closed doors, there's a little bit of fear. I think there's a little bit of fear he strikes into players, and he's like, "Hey, if you ain't doing what I say, you're not up to my standards, you're not even going to see the field." There's a lot of other coaches that might play the whole tough love and be like, "Well, I believe in you. You can get it. I believe in you." But Deion seems to me be like, "Nah, man, you get one chance. Screw it up. You're gonna have to give me a reason to put you back on the field." It's kind of like we joked about, when we were talking hoops. It's like what B.J. Armstrong was quoted once. It was like, when Jordan kicks you that ball, you better hit that first shot, because if you don't, you're not getting the ball for the rest of the game. And
Right. May not.
That's the kind of coach Deion reminds me of. Is that he loves all his players and he'll go to bat for them, but once he has a reason to doubt you, that's an uphill climb to get that back. So maybe that's a little bit. Maybe it's like these players don't want to disappoint him so much because they know they won't get back on the field or what. But yeah, I mean, definitely he turned the program around for sure. They got a little bit too much love, I think, sometimes undeserving, because it's the LeBron James factor. Like, there's a lot of internet clicks, there's a lot of arguments to be had, there's a lot of engagement, and that's the world we're in now. Let's be real. Like, social media, whether it's a business, whether it's a band, whether it's just sports highlights, like, social media is king. And if you're not getting the clicks and you're not a top story, like, the days of sending out your reporters to go cover a cat in the tree, like, those days are gone. Right now it's like you got 5 top stories, and they're going to drive those stories in the ground. Colorado was a story all year long. Was it rightfully so? I mean, maybe because, for sure, Sanders had a good season and Travis Hunter was obviously had a great season. So I think a lot of their it was warranted, but I think it was overkill, personally. But
Adam, I got to jump in and answer your question. You asked, is there another coach in college football that could squeeze out the season they had with that roster? Yes, Kirk Signetti would have gone 12-0 with that roster and that schedule, because Indiana has less talent, had a similar schedule. I don't care that a bunch of those Big 12 teams are ranked. They're trash. But they were not good. And a lot of them were exposed. Pretty much all of them were exposed. And there's no question Colorado would be in the playoff with Kirk Signetti, and one even closer to home for Colorado, Kenny Dillingham, who took a horrific roster in Arizona State to a 12-2 record.
That's true.
House Colorado, and then won the Big 12 championship. So the answer is a resounding yes. And in fact, with the roster he did have, honestly, in my mind, they kind of underachieved, because I said at the beginning of 2023 that Colorado would make the 12-team playoff this year by way of winning the Big 12, and he failed.
It was theirs. They just got too hyped with themselves. I mean, it was there for the taking. All they had to do is win out.
Couldn't do it.
And it wasn't the Big 12 was not good. Big 12 was the championship game was Arizona State and Iowa State. Don't have to get into what Iowa State did. We all know that. But Arizona State beat Texas State by 3. This is the same football team that won that conference. Yes, they improved throughout the season. That's perfectly clear. But Arizona State is not going to compete with Texas in the second round of the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about college football playoff, I will be kind of in attendance this Friday in Notre Dame versus IU, going down there, and I will be able to. I'm not going to get an actual ticket, but that place will be electric, and so I'm excited. What do you think? What do you guys think the storyline is going to be? And here's what I mean. What I love to do in my 49er podcast, shout out to episode 15 of this show, where we talk with Johnny Dell, who breaks down film for the 49ers, and I have a podcast with him. And what we like to do is, with our matchup with the 49ers, is go over, is it our linebackers versus their offensive linemen? Is it our DBs versus their receivers? And we kind of go through what makes sense based on who's been playing well, who hasn't, the strategy of the coaches. So when we think about that, Miles, I'm interested in what you think about, is it controlling the line of scrimmage? Is it the defensive line versus Notre Dame's offensive line? Is it coaching? Which that's a cool thing to think about, is the coaching with Signetti and Freeman. Like, they're polarizing guys. They're well-known guys.
Polar opposites. And they're polar opposites. It's their
so
personalities.
interesting. So what are
Yeah.
some of the storylines for you? IU versus Notre Dame, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's going down
On ABC. Yeah, Adam, I don't think you've ever asked me such an easy question in my life. It's obviously the Notre Dame running game versus the run defense of Indiana. You have two top 3 units in the country going against each other, and that is going to be fascinating to watch in the cold, possibly snow. I'm all hyped up on Mountain Dew there, Adam. I am so happy it's good on good when it comes to the run game when Notre Dame is on the field. It is going to give us a chance. And then on the flip side, being biased here, because this is a positive for IU, seeing our passing offense against Notre Dame's passing defense, that is definitely a leg up for IU. And I'm not worried about the weather because IU has been through it. They've been through it multiple times. And the biggest thing I think, too, that people are not looking at and saying, oh, Notre Dame's better football team, they're at home, For IU, this is not the best team they've seen all season. Ohio State is a better football team than Notre Dame is. But for Notre Dame, this will be by far the best football team that they have played all season. Texas A&M has been exposed down the stretch. They lost, 3 of their last 4 to end up 8-4. They are not on the level of IU, and then the rest of their schedule is what it was. Notre Dame's not the same team that lost to Northern
found a way to
Illinois.
lose.
That's obviously clear. Notre Dame is far and away better, but people are saying, wow, look at that tenacious defense. For most games, they're giving up only 13 or 14 points a game. Look at the competition. When you're playing Army and Navy, and if you watch that Army and Navy game, that was not good football. That was bad football. Of course, Notre Dame's going to blow those teams out. But then when they do see an offense like USC, who's a 6-6 football team, they ran all over the field and threw the ball all over God's green earth on them. So that makes me very, very excited. Again, the game's not going to be in Southern California. It's going to be a cold, blistery evening in South Bend, a home game for Notre Dame. But I absolutely believe IU is very much going to be in that game. It is not going to be a repeat of the Ohio State game where a punter drops the ball and then starts the second half by punting it to the wrong damn side of the field, and then the game was essentially over. Outside of that, IU is very much in the game against Ohio State. We've seen that pressure. Notre Dame unequivocally is going to pressure our offensive line. We are going to be better prepared for it. We have 3 weeks to prep. We are healthier on the offensive line as well. I think we're going to be okay there. If we're not, we're going to be in trouble. But the fact that our run defense is that good and will have the opportunity to contain Notre Dame's electric running game, the Four Horsemen, Part 2, IU is very much going to be in the fight.
T.I., Auburn did not make the playoffs. Your thoughts?
I was going to pretty much say everything Miles just said the exact same way, so I don't have to say anything.
Right.
Pretty much nailed it. No, I'm not going to make any predictions on that game because I don't want to curse Miles's team, like I did in the Ohio State game. So I'm just going to hope that both teams have fun, and in the end, I hope Miles is happy.
Hooray, sports. I'm going to be happy. Dude, we're in the playoff. My family's coming down. My sister went to St. Mary's, which is Notre Dame extended. She took classes on Notre Dame's campus. If we lose by 50, it's not going to happen that way. But if we do, dude, we won 11-2. We made the playoff. We're Indiana football.
Yeah.
I'm good. I want to
call it a
win.
day.
Don't get me wrong, but there are going to be no tears. Sure, I'd be frustrated for about 24 hours, but looking back on what Kirk Signetti did and what we are going to do moving forward,
Coach of the year,
it's all smiles in Bloomington.
for sure.
Hoping Northern Illinois rears their head.
Hey, we just got a commitment yesterday from the top DB for Northern Illinois at IU. That was
Hey.
perfect.
There you go.
That's awesome.
There you go. See, I knew that. That's why I said that. You know,
Right.
Well done.
Yeah,
You,
totally knew it.
you put him up, I knock him down. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, just totally. That's how good I am. Just totally knew that off the top.
All right, so let us shift gears.
But you can laugh at Auburn not making the playoffs. That's fine. You can laugh, but you know what?
He will
We'll be
let
back.
you shift
We'll
gears.
be back. We'll be back. We're a basketball school right now. We're a basketball school.
So that's what we will shift gears into, as you do have some bragging rights, because holy cow, we were texting this weekend. Like, Auburn it's early. It is still December. Wait till the new year. Wait till when it's really in my mind, like it's really college basketball time is January. But I gotta say, I mean, Auburn definitely in my mind now. There's 4 1 seeds for when the tournament happens, and I feel like they would just go through a really, really rough patch if they fell to like a 2 or a 3 seed. Like, I feel like they're gonna be a 1 seed, and they're fun to watch.
I mean, they're beating teams by like 40 points. You know,
dude, it's like if as a fan, you just gotta be like.
Well, I mean,
It's kind of stay
Iowa
healthy
State.
and like that kind of thing, right?
I mean, Iowa State is number 3. They beat Iowa State. They lost on Duke's home floor by like 4 points, and they were right in the thick of it, right in the end.
Of course.
And that was on their home court. That's Duke at 4. And then, on top of that, they've already beat, Houston, already beat UNC. They beat Memphis, who is ranked in the top 25 now. Although I think Memphis just lost, but
Memphis just beat Clemson in overtime, who's a top 20 team.
Oh,
So
wow.
Memphis,
wow. Okay. I thought they lost. So
well, and they've lost a couple games now, but Memphis, it wasn't just
good.
a one-hit wonder in Maui. They just
they're great.
To Clemson and won.
Yeah, no, they're a good team. That's what I'm saying. Like Auburn, and then they've got Purdue, and this Saturday they play Purdue. They just absolutely destroyed Ohio State. I literally thought the score was a misprint when I first looked at the TV. I was like, does that say that they're up? They've doubled the score? I mean, at one point, Ohio State had like 41 points, and Auburn had like 82 up there. And I was just like, oh my god, like this is embarrassing. And then the big men are just coming down and like chucking up threes, because it's just like, well, we're about 40, who cares, And then you just see Bruce Pearl on the sidelines, and he's still coaching them up like it's a 2-point game, and that's what I like about that dude. He's not one of these coaches that takes his foot off the gas, It's like, hey, if you're dominating and blowing them out, keep doing it, but I'm going to keep coaching it like it's a 1-1, 0-0 score. But yeah, they're good. They're really good. I mean, we'll see when SEC comes around, because as Miles and I were talking about, the SEC is got 9 or 10 teams in the top 25. So,
the poll come out later today, but it's 9 as of this last week.
Yeah, so anything can happen, but they definitely look poised for a run. They learned from their first round exit embarrassment to Yale. A bunch of nerds, broke out their pocket protectors, decided to play some basketball, sent my team home packing. So I think they learned from that. You got Broome out there just crushing it. I mean, he had 21 and 20 against Ohio State. I mean, you're putting up numbers like that in college, like that's a big deal. Of course, in the NBA, that's a pretty regular thing, but I mean, maybe not a 20 and 20, but maybe a 20 and 12 or something. But you're putting up numbers like that in college, like definitely got it going.
I'm excited that UCLA is not. I thought they were just going to be more in the laughing stock of situations, and they're in the top 25. They beat Arizona at Arizona, which does not happen a lot for them, and they're 24th. We'll see when the new poll comes out, but I'm kind of excited. I mean, they're sitting at 9-1. That's pretty. I mean, for UCLA, over the last 2-3 years, man, that is something that like they'll break my heart in the next month, I'm sure. But I still want to go. I've been saying this, if you've been tracking on the show, February 14th, Valentine's Day at IU, gonna be fun. I'm gonna grab 2 tickets, and I gotta find a lady to go. but I feel like it won't be that hard living in Indiana to find a lady who wants to see IU on a Friday night. Like, it shouldn't be too difficult. Here's will be the funny thing. If I'm saying this now in December and in 2 months later I still can't and I sheepishly just have to bring a dude, you guys will be able to hammer me.
You
Like,
could bring
dude,
a
you had
bearded
2
lady.
months.
You could bring a bearded lady.
I'll tell you this: it'll be easier to take a lady that has no idea what IU basketball is doing this year than a guy that's actually tuned into it. Because God, we suck. So I think you'll be able to pull it off. You have to make sure that she doesn't really follow it. Just be like, hey, it's Indiana basketball. They're playing UCLA, who's really good historically, too. It's two of the all-time greatest teams.
Like,
Just
oh,
lead with that and then, see what happens. Go from there.
the problem is she has to hang out with me. That's where I have to try and sell her on. So if I can update my personality in 2 months, I got a shot, guys.
There's probably an app. There's probably an app that could help you.
There's an app for that.
Put it back to
Under
the factory
IU.
setting. Just reset and figure it out.
So yeah,
Like in
college basketball.
was it Toy Story 3? Buzz Lightyear gets like reset and he starts speaking Spanish. Maybe that's what you. Maybe that's what you need.
Yeah, Little Latin Lover, good movie, by the way, Adam. Yeah, you tried that out. Yeah, download Babbel, and you can make it work. You got 8 weeks, and yeah, just you'll be sexier. It's fun.
Yo soy El Nino. For those of you who don't hable español, El Nino is Spanish for the Nino.
Yeah.
Shout out to Chris Farley. Okay, so let us now shift gears to back to football and NFL, which Jared Glanville says stands for not for long. Man.
Not fun lately is what it stands for me. Not fun lately.
Tennessee.
Man, we can just move on. We don't need to talk about them.
I was hoping you would say that. There's really, I don't want to hear anything.
I don't know. I mean, they're obviously switching to Mason Rudolph, which is a little confusing to me because I'm at this point. I'm like, if you're trying to get a good draft pick and you are actually taking, like, don't put the guy in that's been putting up more yardage in his short time of playing. So
don't win on accident.
I mean, it's not like he's lighting the world on fire anyway. I mean, he does like a Disney prince, so he's got that going for him. But
I think at every timeout they need to do a random draw of a section, a row, a seat.
Yeah,
bring that fan down, and from that time till the next timeout, they get to play quarterback.
I just want
probably be all of one play because they'll get carted off after getting nearly killed.
I just want a chance to be an offensive coordinator. You just at least for one drive, just give it to me. Imagine that, you get a chance, get out there and get a touchdown. They'd be like,
"What do you got to?"
They got to
lose this draft. But then you're going to ruin it for us, and then we're going to pick like 12th.
Yeah. Well, maybe for next season. Maybe I can just audition for next season.
Hey, and we've talked about with Sports Idiot Nation, hopefully to get up to Green Bay and go for the draft. It would be awesome because both of our teams should have, kind of a decent pick, and it would just be really fun.
Yeah, your team should not, but for some reason they do.
Well,
they should be.
I have said this multiple times on 49er pages.
They're out of sync too, though.
You cannot lead your league in all pros missed games. If you're an NHL team and you lead your league in most, what is it in NHL?
All-star injuries.
All-stars, okay. If you lead the league in all-stars missing games, that NHL team,
you sure you're not from Nashville, bro?
Exactly. That NHL team is not going to do well. If you are baseball, the Dodgers missed Mookie Betts for a while, but they did not lead the league in all-stars missing games. They didn't. The Dodgers didn't, nor did the Yankees. And if they would have, they wouldn't have not had the season that they did. It's just impossible. So at some point, you just got to say, next man up is fine, but it just doesn't always work that way.
Well, to play devil's advocate a little bit, Titans did have that year a few years back where every single player, they broke the NFL record for injuries, and they didn't have Henry. Had A.J. Brown decide he wanted to play every 3 games, and freaking Tannehill took him the number 1 seed. So, I mean, stranger things can happen, I do think that the Niners is a deeper organization that drafts better. So I feel like you guys should be better on the field. But like I said a couple episodes back, I think you guys there's something else going on too that's out of
Something
sync.
in the water in the Bay Area.
It's
maybe.
not just the injuries. Like it's just even when you do have your folks there, it's like they just seem like they're out of sync. I mean, George Kittle's still doing his thing, and Brock Purdy's had a little up and down season, but I mean he's had some injuries too. So you don't know. It's just they'll come back strong because they're the Niners. I mean they've been, statistically at least one of the best teams for the last 6 straight seasons.
Well, it's what the Niners do after they go to a Super Bowl is they just totally shit the bed the following year.
So that they can draft Nick Bosa. So we'll see. But looking at the NFL matchups that kind of made the most noise, 2 games in particular was for me that I want to see what you guys think was Steelers and Eagles and Bills and Lions, and both of those games ended up being both of them at least 2-score games, where
Not true.
I wouldn't have thought that.
Not true.
Oh, the Lions
Bills won by 6.
Yeah,
it felt like it was.
It was basically the whole. I mean, it was a last-ditch effort. It
They
was
had
really
the game in the bag. The game was decided well before the fourth quarter. Sure, I'll give you that. Learn how to count, Adam.
And Detroit scoring 3 touchdowns in a single quarter at the end is like, okay. But it was basically a 2-score game, and for sure it was with the Eagles, as the Steelers only scored 13 points. Was a statement made more as Detroit losing, or was it Buffalo winning and saying, hey, I know we have hiccups sometimes against the Rams or against the Ravens? Which do you say it's more about the Lions losing or the Bills? T.I., what's more the story?
I think the Bills have already made a statement. I mean, they already knocked off the Chiefs. They're playing lights out. I mean, Josh Allen last week had every kind of touchdown you could possibly get. I mean, he had a receiving, had a rushing, had a passing. He was the Travis Hunter before Travis Hunter, But I would say that in the NFC, it's obviously right now, between Detroit and Philly. Philly keeps
the same record now.
Yeah, Philly keeps finding a way to win. But again, as
but
Miles
Minnesota's
said before,
there too.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Again, as Miles has said before, they're the most disrespected, temporary elite team in the NFL are the Vikings. So, we'll see tonight. When they go up against the Bears, we've got a doubleheader tonight, which is cool. I like the doubleheaders, except it's kind of tough when you're wanting to watch both of them. Especially if you got some fantasy invested interest like I do. I need a lot of points tomorrow night from 3 players. Tonight from 3 players. So hopefully they get it done. We'll see. If not, my fantasy season is over. But yeah, I think the Bills have already staked their claim in the AFC. I feel like it's theirs to lose at this point. I mean, of course, the Chiefs are always going to be the Chiefs, but the Bills are. It's because Josh Allen's playing at MVP level. He's not making dumb mistakes. He's dominating on the ground. He's dominating through the air. I mean, at halftime, he had almost 300 yards passing, 264, I think, and already had a couple scores on the ground. And yeah, to me, that's the big difference is like him cutting out the turnovers and then Bills actually like playing mistake-free football, because that's what's always killed them. They've always been able to compete with anybody, but they just can't close out wins. So I think, I guess you could say the story could be more the fact that Detroit lost, but we know Detroit's good. Like, we know they're a good team, but the Bills just keep climbing that ladder as far as I'm concerned.
Pretty crazy. Miles, what did you think of, what about Pittsburgh and Philly?
Well, I found it very interesting that the talk for Pittsburgh overachieving has been how they've dominated in the box, and Philly went out and dominated them. That was not something I expected. I thought Philly was going to try to spread them out and expose their defensive backfield. They didn't have to. That was very impressive how they controlled it, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but suddenly now I'm thinking, oh my God, I thought it was going to be Detroit and Minnesota in the NFC Championship game with how, the seeding and the reseeding goes to the playoffs, but it's like, shit, Philly might be the most complete team in the NFC now after seeing what they did yesterday. I think Detroit's going to be fine. I think that loss for them is actually healthy. They couldn't just continue to run the table and then just be like, well, we're just going to walk through the NFC playoffs and get to New Orleans.
Well, now they need to
They
run the
still
table
are-
if they want to be the number one
They
seed.
do. They're still in the 1 seed for now, having the tiebreaker because their conference record. But Detroit, I do expect them to run the table now. With the schedule they got the rest of the way, I think they'll end up 15-2.
So,
Philly and Minnesota
their
still
schedule.
there because they have Minnesota still to play again. Does Detroit?
So
Go ahead and go through that.
Detroit's schedule is Sunday the 22nd. They are at Chicago, and then
When?
on that following Monday Night Football, as the 49ers get another home Monday Night Football game, but I don't expect us to win because Detroit needs to keep winning. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
And then against the Vikings, which
Right.
could, what are the Vikings going to be doing on January 5th? Are they going to be in a situation where they're locked in to their spot? I remember a couple years ago, the Rams were locked into, I believe, the 5 seed, no matter what they did. And that's kind of a nice place to be, where you can work on okay, let's work on a couple play action plays with Stafford. Hey, let's see this defense out there, and then get them off the field, get them off. It doesn't matter, I
don't think Minnesota's going to be locked in though. With their schedule, it's their schedule is favorable the rest of the way, especially tonight playing Chicago, which again that should be a layup, but we'll see what happens. The NFL is weird.
It's a division game.
It's a division game, rivalry game. Weird things happen, but if things go how they are supposed to
they
go,
got to play at Seattle.
Whatever. That's not easy. Seattle is. I don't trust Seattle, but again, I don't know if I trust Minnesota still. But that game should, because even if Minnesota loses with a third loss, go into that game against Detroit. If they beat them, then that's a third loss, and then they go 1-1 against each other. We'll have to go back and look at their
Minnesota
division schedules and everything. So we don't know that yet, but I do expect and I do at least hope that Detroit-Minnesota game matters for not just the division, but potentially the conference too.
Well, and the week before that. So Minnesota ends the year after the Bears on Monday Night Football. They end the year at Seattle versus Green Bay and at Detroit.
It's not easy. It's not easy, but they got to earn it. They got to earn it. And they might split Seattle, Green Bay, but then at 3 losses, they still will have a chance. Other things got to happen and whatnot. But they still have a chance to end. If they beat Detroit 3 losses, they split 1-1, then we'll go back. We'll look at their division records. Beyond that, we'll look at their conference records too. But that game still very likely would matter. And hell, if Green Bay does beat Minnesota, then Minnesota might still be playing to get that 5 seed versus the 6 seed. So they still probably will have something to play for, whether it's for wild card seeding or for division, or hell, even to have home field advantage of that first round bye.
Miles, you may know this. I was really thinking through this. When was the last time that a team 9-4 had that low of a position? I mean, at in the NFC North, you have 2 teams that are 11-2, and Green Bay.
What were the Cowboys and the Eagles? I feel like the Cowboys and Eagles constantly are doing that. I mean, just the other year, I forget if it was the Cowboys were the wild card and then played against your Niners in the divisional round. Were they a wild card that year? And I feel like they were like 12-4. Or were they a conference or a division champ that year?
They
I can't
weren't
remember.
Third in their division, though, is what I'm saying as well.
Yeah. Well, and I mean,
That's
you have
crazy.
to go back to those NFC East days where the Giants were good, the Cowboys, the Eagles. Because the only other one I could think of was when Tampa won the Super Bowl, but then again, they were second in the NFC South behind New Orleans. So, God, going back to that, you have to think of those NFC East days. I'd have to get in and dig because there's probably something there that's not jumping out at me.
North,
like maybe and that's exactly where I was going. Like
Baltimore Cincinnati, and
Maybe Cleveland actually with Pittsburgh down. I'd have to go and look through it, but it's like
pretty crazy.
the ones that are jumping out to me, like growing up when I was cheering for the Eagles before, I forgot drafted by the Bengals, seeing like Giants, Eagles, Cowboys in a rotation, like 12-4, and you might miss the playoffs when it was still just 6 teams in the conference.
Yeah, that I remember the Patriots with Castle. I think they were 10-6 and missed them, and then Tom Brady came back and it was lights out.
Right.
Obviously when he came back, but
Matt Castle,
pretty crazy.
Legend of Matt Castle.
A backup at every level.
One thing that kids need to remember that Miles touched on is, yes, kids, there was a time that the New York Giants were good at football. Okay, it's been a while.
It's a long while.
It's been a while, but there was a time that they were really good. And Eli Manning is Tom Brady's
and
daddy.
That's another thing too. Like growing up in the late '90s, early 2000s, I remember Jim Tressel, Jim Fossil. Always thinking the Giants are damn good. Tiki Barbie hated that dude. Like, my God, that dude could run the ball. Good. But then seeing yesterday the Bills and Lions sitting down, looking at like this is premier football in the NFL. Potential a Super Bowl matchup very much could happen. I would love to see it, not just because they're underdog teams, and that's kind of my point here in a second that I'll make, but the Bills and Lions, like, my God, the defenses didn't look great, but it's not because the defenses are bad. It's because those offenses are that good. Goff and Allen both making passes against, double teams that are playing perfect defense. They're just that precise in their throwing, putting out dots right and left. But thinking then, man, when I was 14 years old or 10 years old or hell, even 8 years old, the Lions and the Bills sucked. They were Tennessee Titan bad.
J.P. Lousman. Guys like that.
Oh, yeah. And then, God, the name's
Rob
escaping
Johnson.
me. Oh, Nathan,
I think
Nathan Peterman.
Ended his career.
Nathan Peterman or Nathan Peterson, who's like statistically the worst quarterback in NFL history. It's like a negative
for some reason.
25.6 passer rating, which I didn't even know that was a thing you go.
Might have been the worst.
God. Well, he had one big game. Who had one huge game. Coy Detmer, as the backup quarterback for the Eagles, went into San Francisco and beat the Niners one of the years that the Eagles had a run in the early 2000s. I'll always remember that game. And then he got knocked out and Jay Feely took over.
Jay Feely, touchy
Jay
Feely.
Feely. I got a crappy Jay Feely. Remember that's when in South Park when they're looking at their cards. It's like, I got a crappy Jay Feely.
So as I'm about to take another quick bourbon shot here.
Poo.
No, it's not
Little
bourbon.
Sippy poo.
But a reminder.
Probably nothing in it. It's just for prop. It's like
no, there's some chai. It's cold.
Oh yeah.
Oh, pinky.
Turn it upside down and prove it.
It's iced chamomile tea.
Yeah.
Hey, never mind you.
It's your
reminder.
Macchiato.
It's your reminder to follow Sports Edit Nation wherever you get your social media. And a reminder, the link is definitely in the description, in the show notes. You can pick up these nice t-shirts, find your team colors, and now you can say that your team sucks, as that's mine here. And then also Miles is sporting the I'm an idiot, I can't, which is great for your like honeydew list. I feel like it's pretty solid. Hey babe, I need you to get this and this done. I'm an idiot. I can't. I gotta watch foosball. Like
it was an
early Christmas gift from my wife, and she had no idea that she got it for me.
You've seen that meme where it's like me anytime the wife asks me to do dishes, and it's like that from one of those like Indian movies, where the guy like whips his coat off and he has no arms. It's like flowing in the wind, his sleeves, Then the woman's like, oh, it's great.
I'll just walk up to her and say, read it and weep.
Read it and weep. And also be sure to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when new episodes drop every Monday and Thursday. And
Mayday! Mayday! Cover your brains, boys and girls. Put on your tinfoil hats, because this is Idiot of the Week.
All right, you idiots and sinners. This week, coming right out of the Bay Area, the quitter, DeAndre Campbell.
Oh, dude, don't
Campbell.
hold on. Don't
quit
even
on
get
knowing
me
his
started.
name.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Oh, great.
Now,
Here we go. Great.
This was Thursday night's game, and no one knew as it happened. Now it's been a little bit well documented now.
A little bit, just a little bit.
But
Just
here's
a
the
little
deal.
bit.
So let me get this straight. I just want to make sure I cover all the bases as a Niner fan, right? And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong because you've seen some of this stuff. The stories have been out. So you're going to tell me that Christian McCaffrey went all the way to Germany to figure out what was going on with his self and make sure he was good. You had Mooney Ward come over from Kansas City a couple years ago, all-pro corner, lose his daughter. She is no longer alive. Okay? He fights back in order to get on the field. Okay? First ballot Hall of Famer, Trent Williams, his wife delivers a stillborn baby. Okay? Then you have Fred Warner, fellow linebacker, backs the line with you. He has a broken bone in his body that he just obviously takes 19 shots of whatever and just gets out there.
Put some
Then
duct
you
tape around
have
it.
another linebacker, a fellow backer of the line, ya boy, you're supposed to be boys, who ruptured his Achilles in the Super Bowl of all games, and he's fighting to get back to play with you on this very day. On this very day is his first day back. You have gone through 18 running backs. I can show you my roster on my fantasy football team because I'm just getting Jordan Mason. Then I'm getting this guy. Then I'm getting Garendo. No one even knows who that is. We've gone through like 6 running backs. Okay, but you're going to say, oh, here's another one. Here's another one. You were not the team's first pick on backing up the position and holding it warm for Greenlaw to come back. It was Kendricks, and he, at the last second, decided not to sign. So you know this. You're not stupid. You know that you weren't the Niners' first choice on being this backup. You were brought in after that. And if 3 idiot fans know that, he also knows that. He's not stupid. Oh, I wasn't their first choice. It's fine. I'm going to go play for a good organization. All right. So all of this is said. Hey, man, get in there and go in there and play. Nah, bro, I'm cool. It's like embarrassing as a Niner fan, I will tell you.
Miles, Adam just hijacked your whole bit, man. I'm sorry.
I was enjoying myself right there. So yeah,
Okay,
Devondre
did I
or
get everything right, though?
DeAndre. Yeah. Well, I think the only thing you missed was Fred Warner also has to watch reruns of his wife banging another dude on The Bachelor. So that's also things he has to cope with as well, and still wants to get out there and play. But DeAndre, I don't care what his name is. Either way, the dude's done. He's done.
No way. No way.
Done. Campbell never should play another down, never should see a locker room, should never even see a football stadium again, even as a ticket-holding fan. No.
He'll be a Tennessee Titan next year. The
guy's been in the league for nearly 10 years, and that was kind of my biggest thing was the guy knew the deal. He wasn't brought in to be the starter. He knew, at least should know, when Greenlaw comes back, he's your dude. And so you should be happy that you're collecting a massive paycheck from the NFL, because if you're in the NFL and you're on a 53-man roster, by any means of a normal human being, you have a massive paycheck, even if you make the league minimum, which certainly he does not.
Right.
How on earth, if things are going sideways, no, I don't want to play football. Like,
G. Winters is hurt.
It was probably
your point being is, hey, I want to last in the league as long as possible. Like, I may never win a Super Bowl again. I'll probably never start again. But I really like these paychecks. They're pretty nice.
Yeah, and
I don't comprehend it. And Adam, is there anything has anything come out about the real true reason why he just refused to play?
Because I'm sure guys' feelings hurt. Well, I'm not starting. I'm not. What?
But
What?
I just,
You know,
I
There's
don't
got to be
know.
more to it than that. That
There
doesn't
has
make
to
any
be.
sense.
I'm sure he had fun explaining that to his wife. You know, she's like, "I saw you on TV." He's like, well, what had happened was, it's
No,
like,
I think she quit him.
I
think
saw
she
what
quit.
happened. What had happened is that we ain't getting any Christmas presents because your team is letting you go because you did some dumb stuff for the whole world to see. You know,
It makes me think of that moment. Sorry, Adam, but I really just think of in World Police, Team America, World Police, of him wanting to go back and carry out his mission and say, "You a butt quitter." Like that's the whole thing. Like if he tries to join another team, or like especially an AFC roster now to make a playoff push, and they're like, "You join the team? No, you're a quitter. No, we don't want anything to do with you. You're a cancer."
And that's what John Lynch told him, which that's the story I found out is all of these Niner players only know John Lynch as the great guy to hug them and like, hey, we're glad we got you, bud. They don't know the type of dude intensity that he was when he was a Hall of Fame player.
Mhm.
Well, it was documented that they saw it. He ordered him out of the stadium. Like, so the shot of you see him walking, it was because Lynch came down, which he only comes down when they're up 20 points in the fourth quarter to just chop it up with the guys. And obviously that wasn't the case because it was freaking 12-6. So he comes down, and when he finds out, and just like totally is like on him to leave. And so that was the players kind of like, whoa. And then some of them still didn't know. George Kittle got the news broke to him in the press conference. He was like, oh, really? Oh, that's unfortunate. I don't want to be a part of that. Like he was like done with him right there. Like
He's like,
oh,
hold
I
on,
don't want-
let me write a new shirt real quick so I can show it to you. He's like,
Yeah.
DeAndre Campbell.
The week.
Like that was just I've never seen. There's so many like on the sports talk shows with retired NFL players. Every single one of them, from Ryan Clark to Lomas Brown, like all these guys are like, I've never seen this, and he should not play. And they go on like 5-minute tangents about it.
Well,
and he's
you
like,
had that one year. Was it Vontae Davis with the Bills? Like he retired
he
at halftime.
actually passed away too.
But he told them, he was like, "Yeah, I'm
And he retired.
He's like, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm retiring." He wasn't like, "Nah, I still want to go in. I'm good." Like it's
right. It was
like it's
completely
like, hey
different.
man, you want next on NBA Jam? No, man, I'm good. You guys play. I'll just watch y'all play. Like, no, it doesn't work
Cat's
like
even
that.
younger than me. He's
Yeah.
younger than me by a few years. It's not like he's 39 years old.
Yeah, no,
Right.
ridiculous. And when he, wants to play, like he's always been a productive player too. Like makes you wonder if he's always been a headache, maybe in other places as well. It's just really wasn't documented on national television like it was the other night.
Well, he's not a headache for us anymore. And this is one of the reasons that Miles believes in what?
I don't believe in anything anymore.
Though the death penalty.
No, I'm quitting on that now. I'm quitting on it.
Quitter.
Yeah.
Quitters never win.
Quitters never win. No one likes quitters. So
Well, unless you
Wh-
smoke crystal meth or something and you quit that, then you're probably winning.
can't quit
that's a
you.
good move. That's a good move.
so be sure you don't quit on us, and
Houston Texans' favorite movie.
head over to Sports Idiot Nation wherever you get your social media. Also click on the link that is right in the description so that you can grab your swag stuff. We all get swag.
Swag.
And your t-shirts, love them. New episodes every Monday and Thursday, which means it's almost Christmas time. We'll have a fun show for you this and every Thursday. So we will see you Thursday. Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.